The last couple of days around this team have felt different. You know that feeling when something big is shifting inside an organization? When it feels like the front office finally realizes the window with this roster is too important to waste? That's the vibe right now. Because two things just surfaced around the Bills that could completely change the direction of this team going into the next season. One of them involves a move that could give our quarterback the kind of weapon Bills fans have been begging for ever since that dominant passing attack we had a few years ago started fading away. And the other one? Honestly, it caught a lot of people off guard inside the fan base. A move that says a lot about the direction this roster might be heading, and about how aggressive the front office might be willing to get. One situation could reshape the offense. The other might signal a serious shift in how this team is building the roster moving forward. And when you connect both stories together, it really feels like Buffalo might be entering a new phase. But before we break all of that down, real quick, if you're a real Bills fan and you enjoy talking about this team the way we do here, go ahead and drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Bills Nation Update is still a brand new channel, and the goal right now is to reach our first 2,000 subscribers with real Bills fans who live and breathe this team. So, if that's you, you're in the right place. So let's finally talk about the first situation. Because if this actually happened, it would be one of the boldest moves the Bills have made in years. And honestly, it addresses the one problem every Bills fan has been talking about for a while now: the wide receiver position. Let's be real for a second. Ever since the peak years of Stefon Diggs back in 2021 and 2022, the Bills have struggled to find consistent high-level production from the receiver room. The offense has still been good because Josh Allen is Josh Allen, but that true number one target, that guy who defenses have to game plan around every single week, that's been missing. Khalil Shakir has developed into a very reliable player. I like Shakir. Most of Bills Mafia likes Shakir. But if we're being honest, he's not a true number one receiver that can completely change how a defense plays you. Then you look at Keon Coleman, and that situation has been frustrating. The Bills hoped he would grow into that big outside threat, but so far, things just haven't developed the way the team expected. Right now, he's starting to look more like a disappointment than the future star people hoped for. And don't even get me started on the Joshua Palmer signing. That move simply did not work out the way Buffalo hoped. So when you look at the roster today, it's pretty clear. Josh Allen still doesn't have that elite number one weapon that can take this passing game back to another level. And that's where this prediction comes in. USA Today. Analyst Ayrton Osley recently predicted that the Bills could pull off a blockbuster trade for Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown. If you watch football, you know exactly what kind of player we're talking about. Brown is entering his age 29 season, and when he's at his best, he's one of the most dominant receivers in the entire league. He's a physical nightmare for defenders, he can win at every level of the field, and he has that rare ability to completely change how an offense operates. Put a player like that next to Josh Allen, and suddenly the entire passing attack looks different. According to Osley, Buffalo might need to get aggressive because the AFC East is no longer a division where the Bills can just cruise through the regular season and worry about the playoffs later. Especially now that the New England Patriots are suddenly being viewed as legitimate contenders again after their breakout run to the Super Bowl. So the idea here is simple. If the Bills want to stay ahead in the division and maximize this championship window, they may need to make a statement move. And trading for A.J. Brown would absolutely qualify as that. Now, of course, there are some complications. Brown carries a cap hit of $23.39 million in 2026. And right now, the Bills are already dealing with salary cap pressure. So for this trade to work, general manager Brandon Beane would have to get creative financially. Buffalo would likely need to move money around, restructure contracts, and possibly send multiple draft picks to Philadelphia. And that's another piece of the puzzle. The Bills currently only have 7 picks in the 2026 NFL Draft, which means if they really want a player like Brown, they might have to package several of those picks together to make the deal attractive for the Eagles. But here's where things get interesting. This isn't the first time A.J. Brown's name has come up in trade rumors. There have been whispers dating back to last season that Brown hasn't been completely happy with the overall direction of the Eagles' offense, and he hasn't exactly been shy about showing that frustration publicly. Even Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni didn't completely shut down the possibility when asked if Brown would definitely be on the roster next season. He basically said, "Nothing in the NFL is guaranteed." And that right there is what keeps this conversation alive. Because if Brown were ever truly available, you better believe teams like Buffalo would be interested. From a pure football perspective, he would instantly become the best receiver the Bills have had since Stephon Diggs. And pairing that kind of elite weapon with a quarterback like Josh Allen could completely reshape the identity of this offense. For a team that's clearly in win-now mode, giving Allen a dominant receiver like that might be exactly the kind of aggressive move this franchise needs. But here's the thing. While everyone has been talking about potential big additions to help the offense, something else just happened inside the organization that shocked a lot of people in Bills Mafia. Because while the team might be looking to bring in star power on one side of the ball, they just made a decision involving a longtime defensive piece that nobody expected to end the way it did. And when you see the reaction that came from that player, it makes the situation even more emotional. Let's talk about that next. Now let's talk about the second situation, because this one hit a lot closer to home for Bills Mafia. While everyone was focused on possible moves to improve the roster, the Bills quietly made several major decisions that shook up the team in a big way. And it all started after another season where Buffalo once again fell short of reaching the Super Bowl. The organization decided it was time for a massive change. The Bills fired head coach Sean McDermott, the same coach who helped end the franchise's 17-year playoff drought and led the team to 5 straight AFC East titles. That alone already showed the front office was ready to reset the direction of the team. From there, things started moving fast. The Bills promoted offensive coordinator Joe Brady to become the new head coach. They also brought in veteran Pete Carmichael as the new offensive coordinator, and former Bills safety Jim Leonhard was hired as the new defensive coordinator. So this entire coaching structure is basically entering a new era. And with free agency approaching, the front office immediately started working on the next big challenge, creating salary cap space. That became even more important after the Bills made another big move earlier, trading for wide receiver DJ Moore from the Chicago Bears. Moore is set to earn $23.485 million in 2026, which obviously adds pressure to the team's cap situation. But according to Spotrac, Buffalo could restructure Moore's salary through a full conversion, which would lower his 2026 cap hit to around $6.75 million and create roughly $17.7 million in cap space. On top of that, it's widely expected that general manager Brandon Beane will eventually restructure Josh Allen's contract as well to open up even more room. But before any of that happens, the Bills already made a series of tough decisions on March 6th. The team released 4 players in one wave of cuts: wide receiver Curtis Samuel, cornerback Dane Jackson, safety Taylor Rapp, and nickel corner Taron Johnson. Now those first 3 moves already got attention, but the one that really surprised fans was the release of Taron Johnson. Johnson had been one of the core pieces of Buffalo's defense for 8 years. He was drafted by the Bills in the 4th round of the 2018 NFL Draft and developed into one of the best nickel corners in the league. And not that long ago, the team clearly believed in him. Before the 2024 season, Johnson signed a 3-year contract extension worth $30.75 million with Buffalo. That deal came after he earned All-Pro honors, recognizing the incredible season he had put together. That year, he recorded a career-high 98 total tackles, along with 8 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. Even in the playoffs, he showed up, adding 8 more tackles and another forced fumble in 2 postseason games. And according to Pro Football Talk, he was on the field for 89% of the Bills' defensive snaps. That tells you just how important he was to this defense. In 2024, he played 12 regular season games, recording 65 tackles, 2 interceptions, including a pick 6, 5 passes defended, and even a fumble recovery returned for a touchdown. His production dipped a bit in 2025, where he appeared in 13 games, finishing with 57 tackles and 4 passes defended. Still, he remained one of the most respected nickel defenders in the league. So when the Bills suddenly released him, a lot of fans were shocked. Part of the explanation comes from the new defensive system. With Jim Leonhard now running the defense, the Bills are expected to shift from their traditional 4-3 defense to a 3-4 scheme. And that type of system typically does not feature a traditional nickel corner in the same way Buffalo previously used Johnson. Leonhard had even spoken publicly about potentially adjusting Johnson's role within the defense. He said the team planned to communicate with Johnson and try to find the best fit for him based on what Leonhard has done in past defensive systems and what Buffalo had previously done to maximize Johnson's strengths. But in the end, the team decided to move on. And finances played a role as well. By releasing Johnson, the Bills save about $6 million in cap space, which becomes important as the front office prepares for free agency and future roster moves. What made the moment even more emotional was Johnson's reaction. After the news broke, he posted a highlight reel from the 2024 season on Instagram. He didn't write a long message, he didn't release a statement. He simply posted the video and added 1 red heart emoji. That was it. No words, just a quiet goodbye to Bills Mafia. And honestly, moments like that remind you how brutal the NFL business can be, even for players who gave years of production to a team. When you step back and look at both of these stories together, it paints a very clear picture of what's happening in Buffalo right now. The Bills are reshaping this roster. On one side, there are aggressive ideas being discussed about bringing in elite talent to help Josh Allen and push the offense forward. On the other side, the team is making difficult financial and structural decisions, even if that means moving on from players who were once key parts of the locker room. That combination tells us one thing. This franchise is still all in on chasing a Super Bowl. They're willing to take risks, shake up the roster, and make emotional decisions if it means giving themselves a better chance to finally get over that last hurdle. And honestly, as a Bills fan, that's both exciting and a little nerve-wracking at the same time. Because when a team starts making bold moves like this, it usually means something big is coming next. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think the Bills should go all in and try to trade for a superstar receiver to help Josh Allen? And what was your reaction to seeing Taron Johnson released after everything he did for this team? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because Bills fans always have strong opinions about moves like these. And if you enjoy talking about the Bills like this, real opinions, real conversations, no fake hype, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Bills Nation Update is still a brand new channel, and we're trying to reach our first 2,000 subscribers with real members of Bills Mafia. So, if you love the Buffalo Bills and want to follow everything happening with this team, hit that subscribe button and be part of the community.